Good evening. I'm Susanna Boshian, the host of the English language program of National Democratic Alliance, known as BEVER. Our guest today is historian, politician, and NDA's board member, Mr. Ara Papian. Thank you for being our guest, Mr. Papian.
My pleasure.
Mr. Papian, today we're going to discuss the issue concerning Artsakh, the issue that bother all of us. So we will stay concentrated and focused on this topic.
Okay.
Official Stepanakert claims that Baku is committing genocide, thus demanding the international community to take immediate preventive measures against Azerbaijan. Throughout this crisis, various Western countries and international organizations have made statements criticizing Baku for the blockage. However, the fact remains that the crisis is not resolved and the corridor is not opened, thus subjecting 120,000 Armenians in Artsakh to starvation, ethnic cleansing, and eventually to genocide. What could be reason, after all, for this ongoing crisis not being resolved? And is the world tolerating this situation?
Really, the situation in and around Artsakh is really grave. It's complicated because it's not only the issue of Artsakh. It's part of Armenian Azeri or Armenian general Turkish relationship. What is the aim of Baku? They want to starve Armenians maybe into death, but mainly to push them out because of that reasons from Karabakh. Their main goal is total control of Nagorno-Karabakh, or as Artsakh is known. I will not say that the world is just looking to the situation. All these statements are very, very important because in diplomacy you have a step-by-step approach. You cannot solve in one step. When you see that the general prosecutor of international court, even retired, that tells the world that it's a genocide, it's very important because according to the statute of International Court of Justice, Article 38, one of the sources of international law are the opinions of qualified lawyers, politicians, and diplomats. And saying, qualifying as a genocide, it's make new possibilities, opens the door, let's say, for a principle which is called protection, responsibility to protect, R2P, responsibility to protect. This means if a country has an obligation to protect its population and fails to do this, other countries can implement this to prevent starvation, genocide, violation of human rights, violation of humanitarian law, or when it's available, crimes against humanity. In near future, hopefully, there will be a discussion in Security Council, and we will see what will be the outcome. I am hopeful that they finally will push down Aliyev and force him to open the Lachin corridor, but it will be just a short-term solution. The general solution is how to solve general Artsakh problem, which is the territory which legally belongs to Armenia, to the Republic of Armenia. How will be the future of that part of the land?
You already partially answered to the next question that either way I would sound. What particular situation for this crisis do you and NDA see for the reopening BEVER corridor? Maybe you will add something?
Yes, as I told Security Council discussion, it's very important because even if Russia will veto the final solution of the decision, anyway, the other countries will speak out and say what they are willing to do. This is very important. Political will is important. Secondly, we can see that the pressure of Azerbaijan is growing. Many countries emphasize they support the decision of International Court, which twice told Azerbaijan to open the corridor. But one of the important parts is who is responsible for this corridor. Firstly is Russia, because Russia told Armenia actually to withdraw its forces from Karabakh, from other parts, Berzors and others. Because during 44 days of war, Azerbaijan was just successful to occupy a little bit more than 3,000 square kilometers. But more than 4,500 square kilometers were given by Armenia without any shot because of Russian obligation to have always an open 5-kilometer wide corridor. And Russia fails to do this, which means that Russians' responsibility is very important. So-called Russian peacekeepers also failing to implement their obligations, which means that I hope that the issue of real international peacekeepers will come out. National Democratic Alliance for several months speaking for real international peacekeepers, because their presence will curb the desire of Azerbaijan to wage another war against Armenia or part of Armenia, Nagorno-Karabakh. We, National Democratic Alliance, with some lobbying groups, was successful to have hearings in United States Congress, and in near future there will be another continuation, so-called, these hearings with participation of State Department. Also, we always provide information to other countries about the situation and suggesting them our views how to deblocate Karabakh.
National Democratic Alliance announced that on August 17th, it's starting the final stage of a movement for removing Pashinyan from power, for organizing temporary government. How do you envision in this process will take place? Do you think it would be possible to consolidate people around these two calls for actions?
Yes, on August 17th at 7 o'clock p.m., we invite people to come to Azadutyan or Liberty Square and to speak out their political will. This is very important. When we speak to our allies in West saying that Armenian people do not agree with the policy of Nikol Pashinyan, which is actually just giving away Karabakh and all Armenian rights, they rightfully ask us, okay, if people do not agree, why they do not show themselves on the streets? Because it's a democratic way to have a rally and to speak out and to demand from your government to implement what it has to do, because Pashinyan has the responsibility to protect citizens of Armenia in Karabakh. Regardless, does he consider Armenians in Karabakh or the territory of Karabakh Armenia or not, but the people living there are citizens of Armenia. And when you look to the second page of our Armenian passport, it's written that the holder of this passport is under protection of Armenian government. They have to implement this. The first goal is to show people in Armenia, people around the world, and authorities around the world that we demand opening, this short-term goal, opening the corridor, but long-term is the solution of Karabakh issue. But because we are sure that Pashinyan not only did not and does not put enough effort to do this, one of the obstacles of solution is himself, Nikol Pashinyan, Armenian authorities. They have to be pushed aside. The way is to have peaceful rallies and presence of hundreds of thousands of people on the ground in the streets of Yerevan and all over Armenia. We do understand that the situation in and around Armenia really is dangerous in a way that Azerbaijan, at least Azerbaijan, if not Turkey, at that moment will try to misuse the situation and maybe attack Artsakh or Armenian borders. This is why we, in parallel, in a negotiations process with some centers of power in the world to guarantee safety and stability in our region. But without real revolution in Armenia, we cannot recreate our army and our statehood. And this is, as you said, this is a final stage of removing Nikol Pashinyan and creating a temporary government based on the principles of decolonization of Armenia, decommunization, and a lot of DDD, because cleaning up the space for future new building of our new statehood, which will be done in near future.
Mr. Papian, many people discussing the current situation of Armenia and Artsakh in particular claim that Armenia is not armed and we cannot protect ourselves. What do you think will be the first thing, the first steps in regards of security that NDA should take to protect the country and nation?
Actually, there are several layers of security of any country. I think the first layer is political, diplomatic. When I was a diplomat, on my door there was a sticker written, the front line of defense, which means you defend your country first of all by diplomacy. When diplomats fail, the army comes in. And political relationships are very important. Okay, we need army. For army, we need arms. We cannot produce now ourselves, which means we have to buy or we have to be given these arms. We have to recreate the army with new approach, new vision. It must be done. But going to the previous question is, we come again to political authorities in Armenia. Do they want to do this? They spent hundreds of millions of dollars on so-called army, but we see that nothing or little was changed during these 2.5 years after the war. I am sure that the new authorities in Armenia, hopefully it will be National Democratic Alliance, will receive real support from our friendly countries to recreate the army, rearm the army, because this disbalance which exists in South Caucasus is very fragile and it can create basis for another war. Nobody now wants real war because the war between Russia and Ukraine for now is enough. West is looking for peaceful solutions. We as well looking for peaceful solutions. But we understand that peace is based not on rhetorics or weak will saying that we're ready to give everything that you want. No, it's based on equilibrium between two states. Armenia must become much stronger militarily, stronger politically and economically, and this will be a real basis for the peace. It will be done by National Democratic Alliance with support of Western countries, namely and mainly by the United States of America.
Coming back to Armenians, our nation, what could the diaspora do in order to support what NDA starts, that is removing Pashinyan from the power, how they can collaborate for this great idea?
First, they can call their neighbors, relatives, friends that live in Armenia and mainly in Yerevan or around Yerevan, telling them to participate in our forthcoming rally or manifestation on August 17 at 7 o'clock. Which means it's very important. The numbers are important because when people see there are 5,000 of our followers, National Alliance followers, it's another. If it will be 50,000, it's another. And actually, our next steps will be based on the first step, on the numbers. How many people will be on the streets? Regardless how they will be, we'll go on. We'll continue our fight. But there are several scenarios how we'll do this because, as I told, for us it's a must changing Nikol Pashinyan's role and position in Armenia. We have many reasons to believe and to be sure that until he and his clique will remain in power, nothing positive will come out. This must be changed. First, participation. Diaspora itself can participate maybe the same day or other days with manifestations in their countries, demanding supporting Armenia, including Nagorno-Karabakh or Artsakh, or supporting National Democratic Alliance as well. We need to help people to come from other parts of Armenia to Yerevan, which means we need buses. We need a possibility to do so. Do we have enough resources for that? No. They can support there also, not supporting us, supporting the people who live in the regions to come to Yerevan. It's a very important thing. They can also support spreading this information. We have a couple of days before the rally telling everyone about this. And also we need the positive attitude towards National Democratic Alliance. And they have to understand and believe that really the real power is in the hands of people, and they have to support the people.
Thank you, Mr. Papian, for being our guest today. And let's pray that the rally will success and we will move this evil government. Thank you.
Yes, but not only praying, but acting and putting our efforts into this very important goal and aim. And I'm sure that this is the beginning of the end of Nikol's power. Changing the authority in Armenia is very important because without this condition, nothing can be changed. Because his attitude is just keeping his position, his possibilities. National Democratic Alliance is doing, believe me, we cannot speak into details, go into details, but is doing the maximum to remove Pashinyan and to create new relationship between Armenia and other countries who will really support Armenia and will support not only by decisions, but also by helping Armenia to have real independent statehood and strong army.
I believe we will manage. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching us. See you.